In an age of skyrocketing divorce rates, is it really possible to make love last? Welcome to the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman, the well-known relationship experts and best-selling authors of The Marriage Map book. Each week, they share the latest information to help you enjoy your romantic partnerships so you can fall in love forever. Here are your hosts, Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman.
I'm Dr. Michael Grossman,
I'm Dr. Barbara Grossman.
and we're the authors of The Marriage Map, The Road to Transforming Your Marriage from Ordeal to Adventure. And we love talking about marriage and romantic relationships, but it's a very complicated road. It's not simple, but that's what makes life so enjoyable, that it's not so simple, that it takes a lot of skills to manage something like a romantic relationship. So why is it so complicated? Let's think about it. One of the complexities comes from the natural differences between men and women. Men and women are naturally very different in a variety of ways. So as a medical doctor, that's my area. I see the differences in the physiology. Dr. Barbara is a PhD in counseling, and so she has her own perspective on the differences between men and women in the psychological area. Let's look at the physical area. Boys and girls are very different from the time they're born. Little babies, if they're a male baby, they tend to look at movement. And they see different moving things. And that's what their eyes will focus on, is movement. Girl babies will look at faces, and they focus on faces. And then you're born that way. Why is that? Well, it's the physiology. When we look at the brain of a man and a woman, we see they're different. Now, for a while, we thought they were more or less the same. But as the techniques of evaluating brains got more sophisticated, we had all kinds of MRIs and PET scans and other scans that can see how brains are different between men and women. A man's brain is very focused. One area of the brain lights up and you're just focusing on this area. Woman's brain, a little bit everywhere, is all over, just activity, focus, non-focused activity. How does that relate to the difference between men and women? Well, when you see men, when they're having a discussion, they will be focused on the discussion, and it's a logical sequence of thoughts that are occurring. Women, when they're having a discussion, it's generally not so focused. It's just a lot of things happening, and it moves in different directions. And that's because of the quality of the brain itself is different. Women excel in certain areas and men excel in other areas. So you look at engineering world, not so many women in the engineering world. Is it because they're not capable of being engineers? No, and some are wonderful engineers. But in general, women are just not so interested in that. It doesn't get them excited or enthusiastic. Women excel in other areas. So when we look at languages, predominantly, women are excelling in different skills that involve language. And that's just the way it is now. Some men excel in language, but in general, women are more developed in languages than men are. And these are physiological differences. We have the hormonal differences. Women have a lot of estrogen and progesterone, very little testosterone. Men, the opposite. And that affects the physiology, the emotions, and that's just the nature of life. So that's one of the things we can look at in the physical realm. Let's let Dr. Barbara talk a little about the other realms.
So in response to what you're saying, I want to say the good news is that both men and women want love and value love and connection. They experience connection. Their valuing of connection may show up differently. Women like feelings, talk, and eye contact and emotional touching, general body touching. Men probably go quicker to sex than women do, and men like appreciation and respect, possibly more than women, but that's just a matter of degree. The good news is that a mature man and a mature woman wants deep love and partnership. And I'm actually moved as a woman hearing from men just how much love means in their life and how much the subtle connection with their woman is important to them. So they don't like their women being angry at them or disappointed in them. It's a hardship for a man. But what makes love so difficult? And it's a little bit confounding because it's not that hard for us to get together and make a connection and fall in love. What's hard about being in love is that over time, when you commit to love and you have lots of responsibilities that get added to the plate of love, you need to learn as partners to communicate about what's important to you, what you want, what you don't want. You have a lot of practical problems to solve. Some of the challenges that comes to you connects to experiences in your younger years, and you have a lot of feelings about this or that needs to be explored and explained so that what you want from your partner is understood, not as a problem, but just as a deep need that you feel in your life that may be so unexpected and different from your partner's life, but it still needs to be understood and negotiated. Partnership is a fantastic opportunity to learn how to share oneself and how to understand the differences in life so that you can gradually learn to work together and take on all of the projects and joys and obligations and responsibilities of adult life. It's just a fabulous adventure. And I encourage partners when they come up to a wall that seems unsolvable to know that there is solution. And it comes in the way of reflecting on self and learning how to talk.
And what we can say is that the nature of relationship of romantic relationship is such that when you think that your partner should be doing this and this, or saying this and this, or feeling this way and that way, it's because that's how you would feel if you were having that experience. It's important to understand that your partner is different than you for many reasons. The first reason is what I described as the physiology that's different. Second reason is that your psychology is different as a man or a woman, that you have different needs and different points of view in life just because you're different. So don't judge your partner.
And you have different life experiences.
That's the other issue, is that separate from being a man and a woman, you have different life experiences. So for Barbara and I had a life experience of having brothers and a big family life and being like pressured always to be in a group. And I just love being alone for just a little while. That was my experience in life. Barbara has an experience that she's an only child, and she wants to feel that connection, that deep connection. And if she feels like she's being pushed out, because as an only child, you feel pushed out because your parents are, wanting their own private time together. She doesn't like that. She wants to feel that connection. So we have these qualities of being different from our life experiences, and you have differences from being man and woman, so that when your partner seems to be upset about something and you think, oh, you shouldn't be upset about that, you've got to be a little humble about that. You've got to understand your partner, that they're not doing something to just aggravate you. They're doing it because they have their own needs and desires and points of view, and vice versa. You're doing that too because you have your needs and desires. So you have to understand each other. So how do you manage the situation? How do you deal with the complexities that inevitably arise in romantic relationship?
Well, you have to learn how to talk. You have to learn how to share without getting upset, without blaming. and begin angry and making all kinds of drama. And it starts with first reflecting on, why do I feel so strongly about this? And it's important to know not just what you don't want, but it's important to know what you do want, so you can make a request that makes the situation work for you. And that takes a fair amount of connecting the dots and understanding yourself. I mean, if you don't understand yourself, it's hard to expect your partner to understand you.
And what we teach in our classes that we run on Falling in Love Forever, how to interact with each other in such a way that you learn to understand each other, how to make requests in ways that bring you closer together, and how to appreciate the differences that are there and how you can celebrate them. And it really creates romantic relationship being passionate, being intimate, being fulfilling, because you don't want to fall in love with someone exactly like yourself. It's quite boring. It's quite flat. You want to fall in love with someone who's very different than you. And then you can bring certain things to them to fulfill them, and they can bring certain things to you that fulfills you.
Can I say it a little differently?
Yes.
I think you do need to have similarities, like similar values. You need to have some similar interests. You need to have certainly chemistry. So you're looking, your partner, whether you think it out or not, you have differences and similarities. And of course, the differences will find you. And it's in those situations that you need these skills. Where you're similar, it's so effortless.
Right. And just to make you feel better, if you're totally in agreement about everything all the time, there's very little passion there.
Yes, research says that you need a certain amount of negative to each positive. It's the kind of push and pull that creates stretch and growth in a relationship. And that's essentially your graduate school education for a lifetime. It's a continuing education for yourself, for each of you, for a whole lifetime, with the feedback you give each other and the kind of stretch and requirements to keep being bigger than you've been being. It's a wonderful lifelong growth program.
So there you have it. So that is our discussion of why romantic relationships are so complicated and what you can do about it. We encourage you to go to our website and to look up our classes. And we have lots of fun doing them. So you can go to themarriagemap.com, themarriagemap.com. And you also can go to our website, fallinlovesecrets.com. And we look forward to sharing more time with you. And we hope that you are in a fulfilling romantic partnership. Thanks so much.
Wishing you love.
Thank you for watching the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman. Join us next week for another informative discussion to help you keep your love alive. Be sure to visit us at themarriagemap.com or find out about our relationship classes at fallinginloveforever.com.